Strictly for the culture. Brothers and sisters, you have seen the t-shirts, the hats, the hoodies, the mugs in the hands of some of your favorite pro wrestling stars, podcasters, and influencers out there. And now it's time. Visit strictlyfortheculture.ca and you too can be part of the movement. Bigger than sweatshirts and commercial success, Strictly for the Culture aims to build with like-minded people and elevate their position in the world through knowledge, self-love, and a desire to unite. So what are you waiting on? Visit strictlyfortheculture.ca. Do it for the love. Do it for the knowledge. Most importantly, folks, do it strictly for the culture.
Locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke loves wrestling.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, and professional wrestling enthusiasts from around the world. This is professional wrestling ring announcer and Savannah Bananas chief potassium enthusiast, the young Professor Matt Grafer, hanging out here on March the 6th, which happens to be my birthday, with Duke Loves Rasslin. But I got to tell you, folks, I am not alone, because on this traveling circus of sports entertainment that's just a little bit banana flavored, it's not just me coming over from the world of professional wrestling. I've brought company, Jack. Let me introduce to you the newest member of the Dad Bod cheerleading squad known as the Bananas. He was an ugly duckling, and now he is the Rad Bod Dad Bod. Please welcome Mikey Gulino.
Well, let me tell you something, Banana Maniacs. What you gonna do? All right, hey, man, this is the Rad Bod Coach Mikey, the brand new member of the Bananas, and not only the Ugly Ducklings, but I'm part of Banana Land now too. So we're gonna have a lot of fun.
What an excellent way to kick off the show here. We have the birthday boy himself, the young Professor Matt Grafer, and what is it? Rad Bod, Dad Bod, Mikey. Am I saying that correct there?
It's honestly whatever you want to call me. I kind of left it up to Banana Land, left it up to the fans to call me whatever. I think they settled on Rad Bod Mikey. They just scream at me and I listen. So,
all right, we got to get to the bottom of this, Mikey, because what is this Rad Bod stuff? What qualifies you to be known as the man who is Rad Bod, Dad Bod, Mikey?
Believe it or not, it happened years and years ago, because when I started with the Ugly Ducklings, I'd come out with my belly hanging out in a very body positive manner, and someone in the locker room was like, "Hey, you have a dad bod," and I was like, "Well, I'm not a dad." And he goes, "Oh, well, it's just a rad bod," and that kind of stuck with me for years. And then when I came to the Bananas, and he said, "Oh, it's the Dad Bod cheerleading squad," I was like, I think it's time. I'm going to have to bust out an oldie but goodie. And it just kind of taken over again. So,
well, birthday boy himself, young Professor Matt Grafer, it looks like you are dipping into your bag of tricks, so to speak, here, and you're recruiting from the pro wrestling world and bringing them over to the Savannah Bananas, huh?
Well, in the call it prep season, we don't call it the off season for the Bananas. I was brought on full time into the organization as the cast director. So not only am I the in-game host or chief potassium enthusiast, as I call it, but I'm also the cast director. So I oversee a lot of the logistics and training and just communication with the cast of characters outside of the players. So that includes the Bananas, that includes our world famous Banana Nanas, the dancing umpire, our Bananas pep band, our new Princess Potassia, our magician, all the crazy other characters that are in our show. They now report to me, and I'm their representative. And we had lost some members of our dad bod cheerleading squad last year, and we weren't focusing on them properly last year either. We wanted to really amp up the entertainment from a really fun group that gets to mix it up with our fans constantly. So one of my primary tasks during the prep season was to find some new guys to do it. And how do you recruit for this? It's a very weird talent skill set. Other than looking the part, how do you find guys that are going to be part of the greatest show in sports? And so that was the question I had on my mind. And we put something out we did an open call for people that were kind of close to Savannah. And actually, the last professional wrestling show, one of the last professional wrestling shows I did last year, I went up to Viral Pro Wrestling in Thompson, Georgia, where I've been a mainstay for the last couple of years. And now I fill in there when I can. And I was there and I was going through things, and who happened to be there but Coach Mikey of the Ugly Ducklings. And the minute I saw him, every memory I've had of working with him and seeing him in action, just the way that he interacts with fans, just the nature of his character, I said to him, I said, Mikey, come talk to me after the show. And I don't even know if Mikey remembered me, quite frankly, at the time. And he was like, okay, this guy in a shiny suit is telling me to come see him. I'm not even on this show right now. Mikey was just there hanging out because he lives not too far away. And I told him about what we're doing. And I remember hearing about a year or so ago that Mikey wanted to come see a Savannah Bananas game. And I said, hey, I have this opportunity. Are you interested? He said, send it to me and I'll send you my audition video. And within 12 hours, he had this fantastic audition video of him cheerleading and doing his Hulk Hogan impersonation, which I forwarded on to the rest of our office staff that looks at some of these crazy things that I get in my email inbox. And it was very clear that we wanted to consider him further. And so him having that entertainment background from professional wrestling, particularly as a manager who interacts with fans, that is a perfect match and a perfect fit for the Dad Bod cheerleading squad in Banana Land.
You know, Professor, I've had you on a few times where we've discussed the Savannah Bananas and what it is. And, you know, people ask me about it. And I've always said this is the baseball version of the Harlem Globetrotters. But thinking about somebody like yourself, Professor, who comes from the world of professional wrestling, and now you have Rad Bod, Dad Bod, Mikey, and really folks like John Cena being part of the mix and what have you. It's clear that the Savannah Bananas, they're leaning more in the sports entertainment world, so to speak, the professional wrestling world.
I don't think that's a new focus. I mean, that has always been the focus. When it comes down to it, the comparison that we get with the Harlem Globetrotters is not a comparison that we have outwardly claimed. That is one that has been given to us. And I think that's just because that's the easiest way for people to understand it, or to have some basic level of like, hey, wait, is it baseball? What is it? Because the Harlem Globetrotters are an entertainment basketball team. And so that's what people think of. And so that's why we get that comparison. But there are some pretty significant differences, I think, with the Globetrotters and their show versus our show. One is they do virtually the same show everywhere they go. And the other is they fix the outcome, whereas we actually play a real game, this modified version of baseball that we call banana ball. So our athletes are actually playing, but our focus has always been on entertaining the fans. And so in my mind, especially coming from a wrestling background, one of the things that attracted me to the team to begin with is I recognize it immediately as sports entertainment. It's a sport that is focused purely on entertainment to make sure the fans are feeling something throughout. So the way I look at it, as much as everyone calls professional wrestling sports entertainment, which I do think is the appropriate way to describe pro wrestling, we are also sports entertainment, just a different flavor. I say we are the banana flavored version of sports entertainment.
Rad Bod, Dad Bod, Mikey, talk to me about the transition from pro wrestling over to the Savannah Bananas, because they clearly, it's similar worlds here, but there are some differences. Has it been an easy transition for you?
I think the transition, it's definitely almost, I was always saying, like, it's like a seamless transition, because what I did in professional wrestling is not something that every person did in professional wrestling, as far as like when they're involved in it. Like, if you look at with Professor, he's an announcer, me being a manager, it's a very small group of people that honestly, and me and him have talked about this, that honestly get it. You know, what to do, what not to do, how, how to entertain people without taking away from the show. You want to add to the show. You don't want to take away or change focus. And that was something that I learned in professional wrestling, to be that almost that link between what you're watching in the ring and what the fans are reacting to. And when I got to the Bananas and did my first game, I said, oh, this is the same kind of feeling. You know, you want everyone to look at and watch the game, and you want to connect the fans to the players. And, you know, that to me was so easy because in, you know, at a Bananas game, the players are so connected with the fans to begin with. They are more connected, you know, between innings. They're running out into the crowd, meeting people, signing autographs. So that connection was very easy for me to be able to bring those fans closer and feel like they're part of the show, because they really are. So it's just the transition between the two really made me realize that, you know, they're in the same vein of that sports entertainment like Professor was talking about. It's just, instead of two guys in a wrestling ring, you're watching two teams playing baseball. But I think the character of Coach Mikey versus the character of Radbod Mikey, I mean, I don't know if Professor can vouch for it, but I don't think there's any difference between the two, really.
Not very much. I mean, I remember when you and I were talking about it, and I said, listen, here's my vision for you. And you hadn't seen a game yet. I said, what you do as Coach Mikey, just do that. If you just do that, this is going to work. I mean, that was my vision when I saw Mikey, because it all clicked. I remembered everything, anything I've ever seen from him, the way he was. I went, that is how our Bananas should be. So if he just does that, that's going to translate very well. And in the last few weeks, I've seen more people go up to Mikey as a Banana than any other. And no shade at any of the other guys, because I love all the other guys. But him with the belly out, he's got grown men coming up, pulling their bellies out. He's got kids like pulling their bellies out, want to take pictures. Women who are married to dad bod guys all want to take pictures with the rad bod. So it's been a very interesting couple of weeks as we've seen the rad bod dad bod Mikey transition from wrestling into Banana Land.
You know, fellas, we were talking a little bit about this offline, but John Cena, future WWE Hall of Famer, and you know, he's a Hollywood actor, TV actor, and what have you. Legitimately one of the most recognizable people on the planet. He was on Good Morning America today, and one of the questions he was asked about was about the Savannah Bananas. And in fact, they showed a clip of Cena coming out to the entrance there, which I know you did the announcing, Professor, for that. I'm going to start with you, Mikey. Let me know what you think about this. I mean, the whole notion of a guy like John Cena talking about the Savannah Bananas and being asked about the Savannah Bananas, even more importantly there. How does that feel, especially for a guy like yourself who has experience in pro wrestling?
I think, you know, obviously it's amazing, but you look at John Cena and every interview he's ever done, and his mentality is a very strong mentality that the Bananas share, and it's fans first. It's something that you want to look at constantly when you're trying to entertain people is, are we doing this for the fans? And everything he's done throughout his career, whether, you know, people like him or they hate him in the wrestling ring, whatever it may be, nobody can deny that he has always been fans first. So when he made that connection with Savannah Bananas, to me, I was like, it was shocking, but also it was like, oh, duh. Like, of course it would be that connection because of his mentality and his work ethic to provide entertainment for fans. And that trumps, you know, above all other things. You know, he's always been that way. So I feel like that connection right there, and the fact that, you know, he wanted to come out and do that, and more importantly, taking that bat which I'm sure, Professor is going to get into, but he had a very big part of that. So I know that was a big dream for him too. So I'm very stoked for him being able to do that and be involved in that.
Same question for you, Professor. I mean, how does it feel to have a guy like John Cena, essentially, be somewhat of an ambassador for the Savannah Bananas?
I reflect a lot on just on my own personal journey in sports. I didn't start in with any of this until I was in my early 30s. And when I first came on your show a little over 5 years ago, I was a year in, and I was working at a wrestling promotion that was based out of a medical supply warehouse in one of the roughest neighborhoods in Daytona Beach at the time. We had moved locations a few times, but some nights we were in front of 5 people. And I was coming out dressed to the nines and really putting my effort out there and working with whoever, whenever, however. And to be down the road, 6 years after I start and literally being with a guy that is on my personal Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling. And I don't know if I've ever gone through that on this show. There's been other shows, but John Cena is one of the 4 guys on my Rushmore. To get to announce for him and have him be involved with something that I'm involved with blows my mind. But it goes to what Mikey said. It makes a lot of sense. And not just because we're this really big, popular, viral sensation in sports, but John's mentality is so much in alignment with our mentality as an entire organization. I mean, the name of our company that is over the bananas and party animals and firefighters and all that is Fans First Entertainment. We are fanatical about our fans. Everything that we do is designed to enhance the fan experience. We want everyone to have the most amazing time, not just at a baseball game. That used to be it, to have the most amazing time at a baseball game. Now we don't even say that. We want them to have the most amazing time at an event that they've ever had. That is the kind of thing we go for every single night, and we always try to plus it and do even better the next time. That is our focus. And John is that guy. I remember being just a classic wrestling fan, and I was burnt out on Super Cena when I was in my early 20s. He had been doing that gimmick for a long time, and the 5 moves of doom, and it's like, oh, this is so boring. Like, when are we going to see a shift in the character of John Cena? And then I became a father, right? 12 years ago, I became a father, and I started watching wrestling with my son, and then with my other kids, and when my other kids came into my life. And that's when I understood John Cena, because he wasn't necessarily for me as an adult wrestling fan. He was for kids. He was a guy that I could always count on to be a good representative for my children. And you look at the work that he did with the Make-A-Wish Foundation and just how he interacts with people. I watched how he interacted with us. I mean, some of our guys were kids when he started, and Stilts was crying in the locker room when John Cena walked in. There's a video of it. I'm not calling him out. It's out there. He's seen it. John was so gracious and took his time, and he didn't have to take an at bat with us. He could have just come out and said hello. He could have done nothing. He could have, but he wanted to be a part of it, and he wanted to take an at bat, and he was asking, what are some things I can do to make this more entertaining for the fans? And he did an interview right after his at bat, which was mired with some technical difficulty. So the Bananas didn't really put it out, but if you go watch the game, it's there. But I love the interview that he did, because he couldn't hear our broadcaster, but John, being the pro that he is, he just cut a promo right there, knowing exactly what direction that interview would have taken. And he said that there is something special going on here, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it. This feels like WrestleMania to me. He goes, I can't even tell you. I have the electricity I feel right now in this place. And so to know that we got to be a part of that, to give him an experience that's familiar to him, for him to make that level of comparison, it's unbelievable. It's weird to even talk about, because again, in my brain, I know what I'm doing, and I'm sure Mikey feels the same way. We've worked in some rough places, because indie wrestling is not all glitz and glamour. But to now be in a place where a guy like John Cena is our equal and wants to work with us, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
All right, Professor, let's get to it here. We have the Savannah Bananas Banana Ball World Tour 2024. Talk to me about the kickoff, and also about some Major League Baseball parks that you folks are going to be performing in.
So we've had, we kicked off a month ago in Tampa, and that's the weekend we had Cena out there. But this coming Saturday, is the first time ever that the Savannah Bananas will be playing in a Major League Baseball stadium. We will be at Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, and there's going to be over 40,000 screaming bananiacs, brother, that are going to be there. And I can't wrap my head around that. I think that's more people than were out at the last 6 games that we just did between Savannah and Jacksonville combined. They're all going to be there on Saturday night, and the Royal Rumble was there. I'm going to stand on the dugout where Roman Reigns speared Baron Corbin in just a couple days from right now, and it's tripping me out, man. But that is what is on the immediate horizon coming up here in just a couple of days.
How many Major League stadiums are you folks going to be in this year?
We'll be at 6 Major League stadiums this year. I mean, we're going coast to coast. There's going to be somewhere in the ballpark of like 90 games this year. And we're going, we'll be in California in April and all that stuff. But we start in Houston. In June, we will be at Fenway Park up in your neck of the woods, Duke. A cathedral, one of the most famous, locations, venues in all of sports. Fenway Park will be in June. Then we head on to Washington, D.C. in July. We've got Cleveland in August. We've got Philadelphia in September. And actually, our tour wraps up. Our final game of the season will be in October. And that's going to be down at the home of the Miami Marlins, right before we go on a cruise ship to perform and hang out with fans for a week on Banana Land at sea. So, yeah, it's a pretty wild tour that's going on.
Rad bod, dad bod, Mikey. I'm going to warn you right now, man. Here in Boston, Fenway Stadium, you got to bring it, okay? Because we are a city of folks who are proud of our dad bods, and we know how to display it, our pride. So if you're coming in and you're that guy, you got to bring it, brother. What do you think about that?
Hey, I am beyond excited. It's, like Professor said, like I cannot wrap my head around it, but I am 100% ready. Like the fact that all these stadiums and being, grateful enough to just be able to be a part of this and to have a stadium full of people that I'm like, even though these people might not, there might be a few people that watch wrestling. To me, they're sports entertainment fans, like Professor said, and those are my people. Like these are the people, like he said, dads coming up to me, pulling up their shirts, taking pictures, and it's that to me makes it all worth it because I'm watching their families laughing their butts off, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, we just created a moment for them. There's a million moments that we're creating per game for all of these fans, and they're gonna go home. It might be years down the road at Christmas, and then kid's gonna be at the table and said, "Hey, Dad, you remember when you were with that guy at the Bananas and took off your shirt? You're like, that was pretty funny." Like that's a moment, and to have a stadium full of people that we're going to be creating moments for is going to be something really special. So I am ready. I am ready.
For anybody out there who's curious about the Savannah Bananas, they want to learn more information. I know that the world tour is already sold out. And, that's what happens when you have family-friendly entertainment that is at an affordable price. That is always the big thing about the Savannah Bananas. You folks price everything reasonably. Definitely, it's the most affordable, family-friendly entertainment that I know of, which is just awesome. So for anybody who wants to learn more, and also, if they can't make it out live, but they want to watch online, because really the essence of the Savannah Bananas and what that experience is, it is fantastic. The way that you folks put it on social media and even on the website really captures the essence. If you can't be there live, at least you can watch that. Even the show on ESPN, which is great there too. But overall, what's the best way that our listeners can check out the Savannah Bananas online?
Follow us across all of social media. I mean, just type in the Savannah Bananas. I think most of our platforms, everything is at the Sav Bananas. But follow the Party Animals too. Our other team, the other team we have it debuting this year, the Firefighters. Keep up with all of it because there's a just complete bombardment of amazing content, and it's all different. In fact, if I were to tell anybody to look at anything today, March 6th, this morning, in fact, it was I watched it about 20 minutes before we got on this call together. They did a piece that our press liaison, Sam Bowman, he went and found some fans that got in line, I think, for Saturday's game at like 9:00. So we're talking 10 hours before the game is scheduled to start. This family got in line in Jacksonville, Florida. And he went and like interviewed them and was like, why did you get here at 9:00 this morning? And the mom, talked about hearing about just how crazy it was and how, the seating is first come, first serve. And, they wanted to make sure they could beat the traffic a little bit, beat the crowd, the foot traffic, and get to their seats. And mainly because their daughter, their small child, has cancer, and she can't be out in the sun. And if it rains, and it was a rainy weekend, and she can't be out in the rain. And Sam and our team I guess they already were planning to put some kind of fan up there. We had a suite for them. And I watched this video, and I watched as Princess Potassia went up into that suite, and some of our players and some of the Bananas and our band went up and privately played for them. Dude, I was in tears of just what we were able to do for that family. And so there's so many different kinds of experiences that people can have. If you're just down to party and have a good time, man, we've got that for you. If you're a family and you're looking for just a nice outing that everybody can laugh at and take pictures and, like Mikey said, have moments that they're going to reflect on for years to come, that's there. If you're a fan that maybe has challenges and you're experiencing things in your life that are stressful or that just cause pain, we're going to take you away from that. And sometimes, and we're pretty good about finding these people, we really try to make very, very special experiences for as many people as we can. And I just love that we can do that. So if anybody wants to look, never mind all the dancing videos, never mind the party animals doing their butt bongo celebration the other day, which is funny. And I do recommend watching it. If you want to really see the core, the heart of what this thing is about, watch the video that was posted on the Savannah Bananas Facebook this morning of what we did with that family and bringing them up into that suite, because it's maybe my favorite thing I've ever seen us put out.
Rad bod, dad bod, Mikey, I can't wait to see you at Fenway Park. I can't wait for everyone to see what you're bringing to the table here for the Savannah Bananas. I know it's going to be awesome. Keep doing the great stuff that you're doing, man. You are fantastic as a manager in pro wrestling. So I know you're going to tear it up for the Savannah Bananas. And young professor, my friend, I got to tell you, man, I am just over the moon. I mean, you talked about the fact that you've been a guest here on the show for over 5 years. We're closing in on officially 6 years that you've been a guest here on Duke Loves Rasslin. And also, the show is coming up on the 8th year anniversary. So you've been here for most of it, man. You're one of our more frequent guests. And I got to say, you are a shining example of grit, determination, betting on yourself, never giving up. Not only are you a great ambassador for pro wrestling, you're a great ambassador for the sport of baseball. And more importantly, you are the epitome of someone who, no matter what obstacles are in their way, as long as you pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, you keep pushing forward, you don't go out of your way to be negative or hurt others along the way, you just do the right thing. It's amazing what can happen when you just do the right thing. And certainly, Professor, you've been doing the right thing, and it's been paying off for you, brother. So I appreciate you. I love you, my friend, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
Thank you, Duke. I love you, brother. Thanks for all the opportunities, and thanks for helping to share my story with your fans, your listeners. The people that heard me the first time, I was working in a supply warehouse, and now we're hitting Fenway Park, and it's just a joy to share it with you, call you a friend, and call all of these people that I get to mix up with in the Duke Loves Rasslin crew friends as well.
Let's talk hydration. See, I carry something to drink with me every single place that I go because I am concerned about being dehydrated. It runs in the family. Everything from dry mouth, dizzy spells, fainting. It's pretty serious. And I've tried all the different types of waters and sports drinks. Let me tell you something right now. Liquid IV, that has been the most efficient at keeping me hydrated and doing so pretty quickly. Okay, Liquid IV has 5 essential vitamins and is 2 times faster at keeping you hydrated than water alone. And I'm serious, man. Everything from vitamin C to vitamins B3, B5, B6, B12. Liquid IV also is non-GMO, so it's free from gluten, dairy, soy. So for all you folks out there with food allergies, this may be right up your alley. And I know what you're thinking, but how does it taste, Duke? Well, it tastes pretty good. Okay, we're talking my favorite in pina colada. They also have tropical punch, strawberry, new flavors like sea berry and strawberry lemonade. You can enjoy this stuff, man. But don't take my word for it. I want you to stop what you're doing right now and head over to liquidiv.com. Use the promo code DukeLovesWrestling so you get 20% off your entire order. I mean, anything that you order on liquidiv.com. So what are you waiting for? It's time for you to shop better hydration today. Use the promo code DukeLovesWrestling over at liquidiv.com. Save yourself 20%. Stay hydrated. Most importantly, enjoy life. That's right. Now let's get on with the show. Be kind to yourselves and be kind to others. Take it away, Tony Schiavone.
This is Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Wrestling.